why I think I struggled at Roush.
Biggest frustration, I think, was the question of the time at Roush.
I don't know. I mean, if I knew like what that was when I was there, I would have tried to fix it. Roush is a really tough environment. You know, anyone that has worked there can tell you Jack's very stern. And I tell you, and I hate to like just sit here and compliment Chip because he's standing right next to me, but the one thing that I will tell you about Chip, and I remembered about being there, is that when you had really good days, Chip would tell you, hey, that's a good job, that was a good weekend. But when you had bad days, he didn't kick you when you were down. And Jack was really bad about, he thought that humiliation was a really good motivational tool. And you had a bad day, Jack would just, it was really tough. And so that just didn't really work for me. And I think when things start, going down, it's really hard to turn that around. And then, obviously last year the cars just weren't as good as what they'd had in the past. So there's a lot of positives that come about being back at Earnhardt Ganassi Racing. It's not just about the group of people that I get to work with on the one team, but it's also how well we work with Juan's team and the whole 42 group. And really everybody in that whole building, it's just everybody's behind you and supports you, and that means a lot when you're a driver to have the whole organization be behind you, and it's really important to me. So we have really fast cars, we have a really good pit crew, we got good engines, we just have everything going for us right now, and we started the year off right by winning the 500, and that really seems to carry. You hear about momentum in sports, and it's just, that's a big deal to start off by winning. I will tell you guys, I don't have any hard feelings towards Jack Roush, just so you guys know. I'm still friends with him, I still speak with him, and he actually came up to me after Fontana, after I sat on the pole, and he put his arm around me, he's like, I just want you to know I'm really happy for you. And he was really sincere with it, and he's very professional, and the thing is, like, me leaving there, it wasn't like they chose David Reagan or Matt Kenseth or someone over me. It had to do with where the sponsors were and where the contracts were, and it worked out really well for me, so I was okay with it.
All right, where are we going with the question? Yes, sir, right here in front.
For Chip and Scott, the new IndyCar chassis, which one do you like better than the other?
That's a loaded question. Which new chassis do we like in the IndyCar? I kind of like the Delta Wing, I mean, I don't know. It's going to go fast. It's safer. It's less expensive. I kind of like that one.
Yeah. Let's see, Scott.
That is a loaded question. I'd have to agree with Chip. The Delta.
I just think they got to do something new there. That's why I'm going for it too. I think they need to do something new, something different. They need to differentiate themselves from the same old. We've been doing that same. We've been running that same car there now for years and years and years. We need,
It's a good change, and that's what IndyCar needs at the moment. I think we've had this car since 2002, this shape, so it's been around for 8 years. But more importantly, I think it's the safety. If the car's race well, which with the Delta Wing, it doesn't have wings sticking out everywhere, so you're going to be able to race really closely and provide better racing for the fans, and that's what it's all about. So I think for the drivers, honestly, I don't care what I'm racing as long as I'm racing something and it's competitive and we can go out and win races. So I think all of them are pretty good options, but with the direction that Delta Wing's going, I think it's a good idea.
Hey, this little guy here has a question.
Right. No, thank
It's a
you.
big cause for you.
Yeah, when we first started my foundation, people didn't really even know what autism was, and the awareness wasn't out there. And we've raised a lot of money. And actually Thursday we're doing R.D. Kempner's golf tournament in Dover, where they raise about $500,000 a year. So it's cool to come out and have you guys tell your stories and to get to see that, because I watch my sister live with that every day. And if you don't have a child who is autistic, it's a different lifestyle for sure. And I've watched her do that, and I know how hard that is. So I'm glad you guys came out though, and it's nice to hear your story. So thank you guys. Yeah.
Hey, other questions? Yes, ma'am.
Dale Jr.'s car? Yeah, that's fun. It's really weird to have him on the radio because he'll sometimes. I was telling Chip and I were talking to. I won't let you tell your story, but Chip came on Juan's radio apparently this weekend and said something. And Juan, what did Juan say?
I came on the radio and I said, hey, Juan, I said, Jamie's feeling the same thing. He goes, I said, you're on the wrong channel. Who are you talking to? I said, hey, I'm talking to you. And then it got real quiet.
So Dale Jr. came on my radio at Texas, and then he wasn't on the pit box when the race started, and it was after the Cup race had run, and he told me he was going to come on the pit box, but I knew how tired I was after the Cup race, and I thought, no way is he staying. He's going to get on his airplane, he's going to go home. So we ran a little bit of the race, and while we were in a long green flag run, I heard this strange voice come on, and I was getting ready to say same thing Juan did, and I thought, I think I'll just keep my mouth shut, and I'll figure out who this is later. And so when they threw the caution, you could really concentrate on the voice. I was like, that's Dale Jr. talking, and I'm glad I kept my mouth shut. So, but it's fun to get to drive his car. His whole family works at that team, and Pops and Tony Jr. It's cool for me. I'm not doing a lot of races, but we've run really well in the car each time we've run it, and it's been a fun experience so far. So I've been buddies with Dale Jr. for a long time, so it's kind of cool to get to drive for him.
Before I ask another question here, I got to have Scott tell the story. And I know you've told it a million times, and I don't know if everybody here has heard it. But would you please tell the story about your first race when you were 13 and what your mom did to you? It is really good.
Well, it was probably one of my first races when I was 13, and it was an endurance race. I guess this is the one you're talking about when I rolled and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, and so I was quite short, pretty fat at that stage too, and I actually had to swap drivers. So we came in and worked out that the best way, to make this stop quickly was to add a bit of something to me. And in turn, I started the race, ended up crashing about 3 laps in, rolling the car, and then here's me coming out of the car with this big floral cushion on TV, and I was having a bit of a cry as well. So, that was when I was 13. It didn't look too good.
The cushion is just such a great visual, though.
Nice floral cushion.
Yeah. Okay, there was a question over here. Yes.